It's just spaghetti. Did you want some? I hope you don't mind. I was using my hands since we're all out of forks and it's also on the floor since all the plates left for college. I need to make something explicitly clear. I do not like the horror genre at all. I'm a huge loser, a massive wimp when it comes to media that's entire creation revolves around causing heart attacks in 80-year-old grandpas. Something about jump scares loses me. In a lot of cases, the folks who had creative rights over where to place them and how to make them did really bad jobs, not using it to enhance the viewing experience, but rather to make me piss my pants in fear. Not to say that's bad, well, it's bad if I piss my pants, but it's not inherently bad if a jump scare is done for the sake of a jump scare. It just seems lazy to me, and some people like that, and that's okay. I did like a few good horror movies, but I noticed that the ones that I like the most have little to no jump scares. Stuff like Hereditary and Nope are considered horror to some people, and I think that those are some of the best movies I've ever seen. I'm more into, well, let's just say about any other genre of movie. Comedy, action, drama, sci-fi, rom-com. Sure, I'll take a fucking early 2000s rom-com over this shit. I can find myself enjoying a lot of different things, but in terms of literally any type of media, horror is where you lose me. Silent Hill 2, more like Silent Hill Poo. Very original joke. You ever seen that one before? So why should I not try to ease my way into enjoying more scary things by watching a scary movie that's apparently not scary? One I remember as a kid was American Poltergeist. Not to be confused with Poltergeist 2015, the movie that it's a blatant mockbuster of. For those of the unaware, a mockbuster is a movie whose sole intent is to rip some cash out of the big motion pictures. They use similar themes, names, cover art, and even release dates, everything in an attempt to get a few extra bucks. Poltergeist, the actual movie, came out in 1982, and this was a remake of that classic film. It was in what's called development hell for 7 years before finally coming out on May 22nd of 2015 to pretty reviews, getting a few million bucks in the box office, so it wasn't that big of a flop. A week later, yes, only 7 days later, a movie called American Poltergeist came out on May 29th of 2015. I won't be spoiling any details about it as I want to get into it as I do my first ever movie review. By the way, this is my first ever movie review. Should I do more of these? I don't know. I should also clarify that this movie isn't to be confused with American Poltergeist 2, which came out 2 years before this one, so I think they just renamed it. American Poltergeist, The Curse of Lilith Ratchet, which seems to be an alternative title for this movie that we're talking about, despite also being a different movie entirely. American Poltergeist 3, American Poltergeist 4, American Poltergeist 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There were 9 of these. They're on pace for a yearly release. And would you be surprised if I said that all of these came out between 2015 and 2018? Apparently. These sequels are all over the place, some being under completely different names in different areas. American Poltergeist as a franchise must be really popular in Germany, as I can only find info on the first, technically second, and 9th one in English, while the others are all available in German. There's also this one, which has the exact same name, but a completely different movie. Is it related at all? Let me check real quick. These are completely unrelated. Wow. American Poltergeist opens on almost a minute straight of text telling us that it's based on true events, a woman hanging herself, and a baby crying sound effect followed by establishing shots with happy music. Incredible pacing so far. Here's where we're introduced to two of the main characters, Michael and Scott. Michael's sister Taryn got an email from a lady named Diana offering her spare rooms to college kids. Naturally, instead of brushing it off as a scam or sensing a liquid concern, as no one rents their house to 5 college kids for $325 a month, utilities included, they're moving in. This movie is in no way filmed in Massachusetts, as we'll get into later, but they got the right sign for Fall River, Massachusetts while doing some shots through the windshield, so they either filmed a bit of this movie there, or they bought a sign and put it up on the side of this backwoods road. 2 cars pull up to the driveway, neither having front or back license plates or branding on the car. In the state of Massachusetts, you need to have both a front and back license plate, so this is illegal. If I were doing one of those like, here's all the crimes they did, this would be 1. Or I guess 2 because it's 2 cars. Nikki randomly spawns out of the first car as if she were there with Michael and Scott the entire time, and Taryn throws her keys back into her car for some reason. Oh god, what do we do while the brother and sister talk about how much the sister doesn't like this place and also doesn't like her brother's girlfriend? I don't know. I guess walk around this front step awkwardly since we were given no direction for what to do in this scene.
What college did you say you all attend?
Brown University.
And when would you be needing to move?
Immediately.
Normal human conversation. In case you haven't gathered it yet, Nikki's one personality trait is that she is self-obsessed. Could you tell? No? Didn't you catch the 4 times that she looked at her own reflection in less than 2 minutes? Well, how about you catch that she's pissing through her skirt since she clearly took nothing off here? They had an opportunity to do the usual low-budget movie trope of showing off a girl's butt or boobs or whatever, but they refrained. I'm proud of them, though I am curious how long it'll take until they give in. While they're touring this ugly-ass house with some of the most eclectic designing and decorating, and I mean it, there is no feng shui, Taryn spots this doll and asks Diana about if she has any kids.
You have a little girl? No kids.
No kids. God, I love how awfully literally all of her lines are said. It's so fun to mimic. No kids. I know that she's supposed to be a weird, creepy lady, but my God, this is so laughable, not unnerving.
Hey, I ordered you a pizza. Oh, cool. Thanks, Mel. Pineapple?
It's the next day, and as everyone is unloading their belongings, Taryn steals that doll that she had her eyes on the previous day. There's no reason ever given for why, and it's not explained later on either. She just steals from one bedroom of the house and puts it in the bedroom that she'll be staying in. Makes a whole lot of sense, white girl. While that's going on, Michael tries to get into the basement to unload some of his sports equipment.
It was locked when I moved in. No key.
No kids, no key. Hey, holy shit, who the hell is that? Are you not gonna talk about the person back there? I'm choosing to ignore the awful lines here. Who was that? Upon further inspection, that is a mannequin, and they just never do anything with how kind of freaky it is. What a waste. Anyway, we finally get a shot of a woman's ass. It only took a few minutes, and it's from the perspective of a creepy cop named Officer Alvarez. Nikki acts like he's the where my hug at kid in school. Hey, look, another character with a single personality trait. Scott is a Christian, by the way. I don't know if they make that obvious. Whoa, hey now, one Bible is enough. Hey, chill out with the religious text, my friend. The Enchiridion? Why do you have that? What are you doing with that doll? Seriously, just go put it back. Taryn, you snagged it for no goddamn reason. Go put it back. Are those more Bibles? Now we have the dinner scene where everyone talks about how they met each other. Let's see what's on the menu. Apples, salad dressing, butter, bread, wine. There's some white slop in this thing here, but I can't make out what the hell it's supposed to be. Doesn't matter anyway, as they're all going crazy for that wine. Michael does some awkward lettuce fondling, and that's it. Great scene. Cut. That's a wrap. Taryn and Jenna are sleeping in the same bed for some reason, presumably because there wasn't enough room in the budget for a second bed, let alone one with a box spring or maybe a bed frame. Gasp! Shock! Egads! 3:33 a.m. and TV static, just like the actual poltergeist. Yikes! You'll notice that a lot of scenes in this movie add nothing at all. None of the dialogue feels natural, and none of the shots feel well done except for 2. And here's one of them. Crazy how they do nothing with this. Taryn gets up from bed to go investigate and brings a knife with her into Scott's room. A normal human thing to do. Nothing warranted that. I would kill a bitch if someone walked into my room with a knife. She also manifested some boots onto her feet. Take the Uggs off, girl. You are walking around the house with a knife. You don't need those. Some slippers I can understand, but these are big poofy boots. As she's continuing her search for the source of the sounds, the door to the previously locked forever basement opens on its own. In case you forgot, no key. She also lost her knife while coming downstairs, presumably in Scott's chest. That wiring in here is not up to code. That is a real fire hazard. Maybe I am doing the crime thing. Crime number 2. Play a little ding sound and put a 3 up in the corner. Taryn sees a vision of dead people, reacts accordingly, only to find out that it was actually just a broken chair, a toolbox, and a crowbar. She then finds Nikki unconsciously standing while holding an axe. Can you guess what murders this movie is referencing? Comment down below. After dropping Nikki off in her bed, she reacquires her knife somehow, puts it on the bedside table, removes her Uggs, and treats us to this awfully shot jump scare. Did you see it?
Did you see it?
Instead of investigating this, something that she physically saw, unlike the sounds that she went ace detective on, she lays back down in bed and acts like nothing happens. And you know what? Nothing does happen from this.
I'll call your bluff.
Fuck yeah, it's all mine.
Hey look, unbuttoned shorts, a swimsuit, and Michael's mic. Normal human reaction to scary, spooky, dead woman. Taryn calls Michael aside to talk to him about Nikki and the axe and all that stuff in the basement from the previous night, but he says that's impossible. Remember guys, no key. Instead of hearing his sister out, he gets defensive and takes her genuine concerns as her trying to shit talk his girlfriend. I think he got so mad that he lost his mic.
Am I hearing this correctly? Look, she's gonna kill me in saying this, but Nikki has a sleeping disorder, right? She has an insufficient amount of GABA in her brain or something.
Meanwhile, Scott is over here grill mastering these bland-looking burgers and hot dogs they obviously had to do more than one take of, all within earshot of Michael and Taryn arguing. While pretending to enjoy their white people food and have drank generic cola, Taryn starts interrogating Diana and claims tenants' rights. I checked and asking someone a very sensitive question is not in the tenants' rights, so I don't know what the hell she's going on about here. They all agreed to go to a lake instead of using the pool that they have in the backyard. A fun note about this pool is that despite having it here, they never use it, even opting to go to a completely different body of water. Nikki dipping her dogs in is about as much use as it gets in the 80-minute runtime. Hey look, it's Officer Alvarez. His actor, Nicholas Talone, is almost always a cop in everything he acts in. Hard Time, police officer. All That, police officer. Co-Pilot's police man. Sky, police officer 2. Lemon Cove, park ranger. That's close enough. Toxic Tutu, crime scene police officer. Stronghold, Officer Macklin. Expiration date, bring them down. Police officer. Scanner, Detective 3. The Fog of Murder, Officer Zambon. Black Club Anonymous, Officer Tom. The Obscured, police officer. There's a lot more cop-esque credits that I didn't name here, and he does act as other things, but my god, this man has found his niche. He and Diana talk for a bit about stuff that won't make sense unless you pay attention very closely. In short, they're trying to find the last living Borden girl. You know, Lizzie Borden, the girl who killed her parents with an axe. Did you guess right a few minutes ago? Don't go edit your YouTube comments, you slimy bastard. Diana believes that one of these 5 college students is the last living Borden girl. The spooky dead lady is actually Lizzie Borden looking to possess a different Borden than the one that she already has right now, being Diana. Make sense? Good. Our smelly college freaks come back, 3 of whom have no shoes on, meaning that they either walked or drove to and from the lake without keeping their dogs locked up. Also, in case you forgot, Scott is a Christian.
Oh, actually, I won't be there tomorrow morning because I'm going to be at the church, so count me out on that.
This is important for the plot, so don't forget, or else I might have to remind you that he's a Christian again. You may also notice if you pay attention really hard, but we never see the lake. In fact, we never see anything outside of this house in its driveway and backyard, as this is a bottle movie. If you're unfamiliar, a bottle, when referring to media, is when an episode of a TV show, or in our case, a full movie, is made in one location to save money. The only time that we're not near or in this house is at the beginning of the movie when we were instead a camera in the passenger seat of a car. That night, Taryn has a nightmare that's actually a callback to the beginning of the movie. She wakes up with random bruises on her arms and legs. She details what she saw in her nightmare, a woman hanging, bodies hacked up. Ooh, scary. I do want to pause here for a sec, as what I'm about to say requires a bit of context. See, I saw this movie about a month after it came out when it was in the bargain bin at Walmart. You know, the $5 DVDs no one ever buys. I was 14 at the time. My aunt who I was living with had bought it and we watched it that night. Her 30-something-year-old son walked out eating cereal at 11 p.m., watched a few seconds of this movie with us, pointed to this shot right here and said, "Camel toe," and then walked back to his room.
What the fuck, man?
Oh, I'm sorry, my man.
Wait a minute. Are you gay?
Yeah, a little. Why?
Oh god, it's spreading.
Didn't even get a chance to use it. It's day 4 now. Crazy to think that we're less than half an hour into this movie, by the way.
We're going to the store to get food and drink for Nikki's party later. Wanna come with us?
Normal human sentence.
Do you want anything from the store?
Yeah, can you pick up some sage?
What, like the seasoning?
Hi, welcome to Mel School. For those of you who don't know, sage is not just a seasoning, but also a little plant thing. You make bundles of its sticks and burn them. Many believe that this wards off negative energy and bad spirits. I don't really believe that, but it does smell really good, and that can sure as hell ward off bad energy, so in a way, maybe it does work. For some reason, the three of them took both cars. Also, here we spot a tree a friend of mine who lived in Florida for 25 years pointed out is a palm tree. That's not native to Massive Two Shits. As Taryn is looking around, the door to the basement opens. See, that's spooky because in case you forgot, no key. Hello, cameraman. She goes down and brings up that toolbox from before. Inside are a bunch of pictures and newspaper clippings that very obviously came from a printer that had no colored ink. Local farm destroyed. Oh, God! They're supposed to look like old pictures, but they could pass as sun-bleached more than anything. This guy looks like I saw him yesterday, not like he's from 1892. A lot of this movie is designed to waste time. This scene here is spread out by having her pull a knife on a simple sound, the window opening and showing off a set light, and of course, just a lot of lingering shots that could have been cut significantly. If they did that though, this movie would have probably been short of that 60 required minutes that you need for a feature-length film. Anyway, back to what's inside the box. Since it's pretty hard to make it out here, that is a birth certificate with her name on it. For some reason, they didn't do any retakes despite how literally impossible it is to read. It took me until my 7th watch of this movie to notice that. Yes, I've watched this movie a lot of times, and there's a reason I want to make a video about it, all right? So here's what all this means. Taryn is the last Borden child, having been adopted by Michael's parents. She was pulled from this house by Officer Alvarez. Diana is her mother-in-law who unknowingly married into the family, and her father was John Borden, or Eastbrook. Brave man to take his wife's last name. Her actual mother is the one who we've been seeing in the hanging flashbacks. Her grandparents, the one Lizzie initially butchered, are the ones that we see in the flashbacks. So the baby crying must have been her. So that means Lizzie Borden is after her so she can replace Diana as the vengeful host for the spirit. She then decides to kick the stolen doll and put her shoes on the bed out of pure anger. Diana comes home and the two talk about literally everything that I've explained up to this point, but they do a pretty poor job, so you're welcome.
Yes, John didn't have any children. He couldn't. You were his only child.
John Borden couldn't have kids, meaning that the one kid that he did have was his only kid. What? The only thing left unexplained is the whole Lizzie Borden's evil spirit wants to invade this girl's body. Honestly, I'd be more mad that I was named Taryn, but whatever. Oh, and before I forget, not the Lizzie Borden sighting, the mic wire disappearing in between shots. Taryn packs her stuff and tries to leave, but her car won't start. Bothers Michael for his keys, neither will his nor will Scott's. Instead of just, I don't know, walking to a place to get picked up, she decides to stay at the house she no longer feels comfortable in. Also, this scene is quite possibly the worst example of drawn out for too long that this movie has to offer. It's like 3 minutes of her walking in and out of the house. Also, since when were there 3 cars? Does that mean that they took all 3 cars to go shopping earlier? Why is no one worried that their cars aren't starting? I'd be panicked if mine stopped working. I was panicked when mine stopped working earlier this year. Had to spend $3,000 on another fucking car. Taryn asks Michael if he picked up sage sticks, and for once, it's not Michael acting out of line, it's Taryn. Sage sticks aren't just going to be sold at some random grocery store. You gotta go find some mom and pop type place. Even then, he said food and drink, not food and drink and stick. Later that night, they have 5 guests arrive for Nikki's birthday party. Hey look, a character of color. Surely they will respect this person. All 5 of them are put into the guest house, which has a porno set looking room. This is where more junk gets explained, talking about how this is the anniversary of the night that Lizzie Borden murdered her parents, and that they're all staying in the exact house that it happened in. Oh, and it's also Nikki's birthday. That's what they've been preparing for. That's why all the guests are here as well. For any of my viewers who happen to live near Fall River in Providence, you will have noticed that this is nothing like the actual Lizzie Borden house, which is now a bed and breakfast / museum. It looks like this, not this. I don't know where else to mention it, but this movie was produced by Donna Spangler, the lady who plays Diana. I checked her IMDb page and found the award-winning movie Space Girls in Beverly Hills, a solid 2.9 out of 10 2009 movie where, quote, 3 vibrantly retro space girls from the planet Venezia try to fit in as normal Beverly Hills women when they suddenly make a crash landing in the backyard of wealthy, infamous playboy Baron von Benson. Now, blink and you might miss it, but watch the trailer for this movie.
Now is the time to bring the men back to Venetia.
Did you see it?
Did you see it?
That's the same house. This movie not only features Donna Spangler as an actress, but it was also produced by her like how American Poltergeist was. So does she just like renting out this particularly ugly house with horrible furnishing? No, she lives here. This is her fucking home in Beverly Hills, meaning American Poltergeist was filmed in a city that's almost as far away as they could have possibly gotten from the actual Lizzie Borden house without leaving the goddamn country. She has loads of images of herself in the front and back of this house. There's the pool, the pillars in the front, the driveway, the pool, and I guess it explains why the house looks so weird and has absurd decorating choices. No one would voluntarily leave these things in frame and on set. There's a bar, a slot machine, all sorts of weird statues and paintings, a chandelier, and other random junk just thrown around everywhere, making it feel pretty claustrophobic to watch. I also don't know where to place this, but I thought it was really funny. Try to get a picture of my back through the mirror. Hashtag body, hashtag back end, hashtag charting progress, hashtag bum, hashtag back. Anthony Brooks 3153 says, Back on track. Sorry to keep getting off topic. We got boobs! Yeah! One of the girls brings up that the Lizzie Borden murders happened in this exact house and that it was the anniversary, and it reminded me that no one aside from Taryn knew that. I know she said she was going to keep it between her and Diana, but I feel like that's pretty messed up to not tell your friends something that big. While Taryn is busy using Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia at wikipedia.org, there's a party going on in the backyard where no one is using the pool. There's Yakuza-esque music in the background, and the only character of color is doing drugs. Great job! The mixing is pretty rough throughout the movie, and it's especially noticeable during this scene where the music is far too loud and you can barely hear what Nikki is saying.
Do you think this is really a murder house? The girl said something and maybe Terry was right.
There's also a moment where you can hear the cameraman laugh as Nikki is blowing out the candles. Eventually, everyone starts packing up to either leave or go rest after a long night of sitting next to a pool and doing nothing else. See, you can really tell that they partied since there's a candle in this cheeseburger. What wacky college kids. Also, I think this girl's swimsuit is just a bra and panties. I will assume this was either for keeping the viewer's attention or because they couldn't afford to get her an actual swimsuit.
I didn't even get to do anything. Hey, dude, you alright?
No, he's totally dead, dude.
Dude, what the I didn't even touch him! He just fucking fell over and died. What the fuck?
Now we've reached the real shit. Our one token character of color accurately portrays being on cocaine and sleeps in Nikki's bed instead of checking on her friend since she's not responding and facing the opposite direction. Then, the first killing. Random girl is walking down the side of the house instead of, I don't know, through the house. Bam! It's Diana and Lizzie Borden, and they charge at her, causing her to stalk, scream in fear before the camera cuts to black. Big boob girl comes out of the shower completely dry and then is dragged through the mud, presumably also killed. Random man number 1 is steamed alive. This is a huge missed opportunity for a good death scene where they like crank up the heat on him in the sauna and like his face melts off or some shit. But instead the scene is cut short and we get to watch random guy number 2 who is acting super drunk bumble around for a full minute uncut. He kind of looks like as if Tobey Maguire was deflated a little bit. He takes a little stroll down the same walkway as the first girl did and oops, it's still a dead end and oh no, she's been Sonic.exe'd and now he is too. Oh God! Michael, Jenna, Scott, and Taryn, with the return of the Uggs, gather in front of the back door as Diana and her stand, Lizzie Borden, watch them in the backyard. Taryn explains everything, including the fact that she's adopted, and Michael gets pretty upset. In case you forgot his one personality trait, Christian Boy Scott explains what type of demon it is as if it were a trading card game. He goes to get his exorcism supplies as everyone else goes to look for Nikki or an exit. They keep trying to break windows and doors with no avail while the greatest horror music you've ever heard plays in the background. I'm a huge fan of how it switches to a more heroic tone when Scott grabs his Enchiridion.
This is beyond messed up.
Normal human reaction to the only person of color in the movie dying. Despite having just grabbed it, Scott randomly lost all his exorcism equipment, which all good Christian folk have. They can't find an exit or Nikki until they break into the office. Can you guess what they found there? Vote now. If you guessed an exit, feel bad for being wrong. Jenna gets sucked up and Diana makes what is quite possibly the funniest and only use of some form of special effects in the entire film. Luckily, there's good news to this. We lost Nikki and Jenna, meaning it's easier to keep track of all the girls, as there's only one now. Taryn decides to take charge, and the remaining three plan to duct tape Diana's limbs together and drag her to the basement where they begin the exorcism. Hey, fun fact, using duct tape to restrain someone is pointless, as duct tape is intended to rip easily. Also, it's called duct tape, not duck tape. Duct tape is a brand name, you stupid viewer. Officer Alvarez shows up without a warrant, easily opening up the door that was otherwise impossible to open, and instead of doing cop things, he instead watches them tie her up. Michael acts like he can't open the door and then just goes downstairs to the basement so they can begin. Look at all of that muscle and effort being put into holding her down. That took some real strength right there. Taryn leaves and is served a load of door back shots as Scott begins screaming my absolute favorite lines in the entire film.
God the Father commands you! God the Father commands you! God the Father commands you. God the Son commands you. God the Holy Ghost commands you.
This scene, the exorcism, is why I remembered this movie so well. God the epic ghost commands you. God the wholesome ghost commands you. God the Redditor commands you. Nikki dabs her way into the pool, and Michael thinks that he hears her voice, when in reality, it's just Lizzie. Hey look, there's good shot number 2, and that's all you get. Michael gets Sonic.exe as Scott keeps trying to shove a cross in Diana's face and putting holy water on her.
Listen to me, kiddo. Your God can't save you now. There is only one way out of this.
Do we need these? Like, is that a girl thing? Like,
I think so.
let's go to the bathroom and try it.
Everyone is dead except for Scott and Taryn as we reach the 5th day. It's finally morning. It seems several hours have passed as the door backshots finally calm down. Taryn investigates the basement only to see Scott shoot himself in front of her, meaning that motherfucker waited until she came down to check on him hours after he was handed the gun. Alvarez was the true bad guy all along. Curiosity, why didn't he try to break the curse? Normal cop behavior to harm the innocent instead of helping them. Hey, fun fact for you viewers out there. Did you know that 40% of cops actually deal with curses similar to this? It's true. Look up 40% cops to find out more. We are to assume that he does something about shoving Lizzie's spirit from Diana into Taryn because Diana for once seems normal and Sonic.exe!
I'm home now.
This movie is bad. It had some interesting talent behind it. The director and writer, Michael Rutowski especially, as he's worked on a lot of stuff as a production assistant. He's been there for Spongebob, Birds of Prey, Westworld, Hunger Games, Detective Pikachu, Castle. Apparently he was a production assistant on the music video for Sexy and I Know It. In the end, I have one thing to say. Guess who never had children? Lizzie motherfucking Borden. How could this movie possibly be realistic if this murderous bitch didn't even give birth? What an awful dog shit film. So, what'd you guys think?
That fucking sucked.
This isn't
It's
an
ass.
I know you can do better than that.
What was the?
I'm disappointed now.
I didn't even.
Funny clips. Hell yeah.
Wait, you got Subway Surfers?
Why am I always the homophobic one?
Why'd you kill me first?
Well, I wasn't. Why wasn't I not included in the script on this part? I don't. What do I say? Hey, what do I?
Oh, come on. You know why you died first.
Go on. Say it. Say it. Tell me why.
Because you're the funny one and he always dies first. It doesn't matter anyway because you guys were all fooled into being advertisements for my new Makeshift plush. I have a new plush on sale with Makeshift. She's available until October 31st of 2024, so go buy this dummy while you still can. Oh, they all left. Well, at least I still have you, American Poltergeist. Man, even the movie left me.
That's a blooper. That has to be a blooper.